Hi, I'm Alessandro Cino Zolfanelli, director, writer, and animator of Black Eye Dog, and I'm here to answer your questions about my short film. Let's begin. The film was made with an animation technique called stop motion. It's a kind of animation that you do with real objects, right? So you need to build a set and puppets. You build everything for real, you light it with real lights, and then you shoot it. And the way you do it is you take a single frame with your photo camera. By the way, I'm using the same one to film myself right now that I used to shoot Black Eye Dog. So you take a single frame, and then you move the character a little bit, and then you take another frame. Every single second of film has 24 or 25 frames. After you finish shooting your film, you got a completely mute animation. So of course you need to go through post-production, you need to create sound and music. After the long process, you've got an animation, a film. It's real hair. This is not how you do it, most likely, but my thinking process was I want the hair to look real, I want the characters to look as real as possible. So I went to a hairdresser and I was like, hey, I need this hair in this color, could you save some from me? Which probably is something a bit creepy to do. But he saved me some hair, and then I used it to make the characters. Also, the dog is made with real dog fur from my own dog, Benji. But I didn't stop there. I used real soil for the ground, real branches from the trees, which is something that I will never do again. Real branches are extremely heavy, so screwing them to the table and then unscrewing them, moving them around and change the set was extremely hard to do. A real nightmare, to be fair. And using real soil is even worse because, it's organic, so you need to keep it damp, otherwise it's gonna like dry up and crack. I don't wanna go through it. It looks good on the film, I guess. It gives you that uncanny, real feeling to it, maybe. So Black Eye Dog is like a unique case, but moving forward, I'll do things properly. It does. I'm a big fan of Neil Drake. I was looking for a new title for the film, which during production was called The Fish. And I was listening to that song and I remember thinking it just felt perfect, both for the metaphor for depression and for the double meaning, because the film also features a dog with black eyes. Interesting to note that Nick Drake wrote that song talking about his own depression, and he got the inspiration for the title from Winston Churchill, which was famously depressed and used to call his depression a black dog. It's funny that you asked that because actually we had the mother in the story in a very early draft of the script. Only in the first part of the film, when the character is a child, you would see the mother through the window waving at him as he walks away. But it didn't do much for the story, and actually I included the mother just because I didn't want people to wonder what happened to the boy's parents, and I didn't want to ruin the immersion, but eventually I realized that it wasn't needed. And I wanted the woods to feel like a representation of the character's soul. So I wanted the character to be just by himself and with his dog. Well, this is the most common question I get about the film, of course. I want to start by saying this. So the design of the fish came to me in a dream. I had this dream and it was the most vivid dream I ever had. I saw this fish and I woke up and I started drawing it over and over and over because I wanted to get the design on paper. I was like, that was such a strange creature, and I dreamt it, like it came out of my subconscious, and I wanted it to feel right, and I kept drawing it hundreds of times, but it never felt right, and in the end I realized that it was an impossible quest. I was never gonna get it right, because it was a dream, it was just a dream. But that I found interesting, the realization, because it made me think about something that I do in my life, which is obsessing over things sometimes, overthinking things, trying to make sense of things that don't have any. And it's just an exercise in futility, isn't it? Basically, the point of the fish is that it cannot be explained. The character lives in a world which is very much like ours. It's an ordinary world. He sees a bunny, he sees a worm, and he's fascinated, and he wants to take a picture of them. And then he sees this giant flying fish, and it's an anomaly. And of course, he gets obsessed about it, but there is no explaining it. And what I wanted to say with the film is some things just can't be explained. You just have to keep your priorities straight and remember what really matters to you the most, which in this case is the character's dog. Another question I get quite often is, why does the fish come back at the end of the film? The character has a new perspective on life. He finally appreciates his dog for the first time, but obsession like that is not something you get rid of very easily. And I don't like when, especially in short films, they present you with a problem. The character has a problem, then the problem is solved, and by the end everything is good. Because in my experience, that makes you move on. I like stories when the problem is resolved but not completely. The circle doesn't quite close, because that keeps you thinking about it and wondering about it and sticks with you more. So the character definitely changes, has a new perspective, but the question I leave the audience with at the end is, will the character change for good, or will he fall back into his obsessions and the old ways? And that's up to you to decide. And that's the beauty of it. I want to close this video by thanking everyone for all the love that you showed for this film. This story is so personal to me. You have no idea how much it meant to see all those views, all those comments, and it keeps going. Thank you. I am a bit puzzled about all these comments about the character looks. I saw so many comments saying that it looks fine and it's hot. Interesting. I mean, I don't get this kind of hype even, so but good for Franco, good for my character, and I'm glad you like him. Anyway, I also want to thank all the people that helped me along the way making this film. Animation is for the most part a one-man job, but you couldn't do it without the help of other people. Sound designers, producers, composers, director of photography, all of that. So thank you everyone. Thank you guys for watching and commenting, and I hope you keep doing that, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.